what does it mean to be an accountant, right? Is it matching expenses and invoices? Is that what an accountant does? I don't think so. I think what makes an accountant is the understanding, as you said. I don't see the need for those skills and traits going away, maybe ever. So some things that are currently done by people in accounting will no longer be done by people. But I think there are tremendous opportunities for accountants to get involved in anything related to data. I think there's going to be a really strong demand for people who understand accounting and understand or have an interest in these new technologies.
Over the last few months, I've been thinking about AI and its impact on the accounting profession. So I came here to the UK to Cambridge University to meet with the director of the Executive Master Program in Accounting to speak about AI and its impact on accounting. So stay tuned because this video may just change the way you think about the direction of your career. All right, so I'm here with Dr. Mike Willis, who is the director of the Executive Program, the Executive Master Program in Accounting at Cambridge University. Mike, so today we're talking about AI and its effect on the accounting profession. We want to get insight from you. Before we dive in, we want to get a little bit of background on you. So maybe you tell us where you started out at your career and where you're at now.
Sure, thanks, Bill. So I had kind of a strange career path. I actually started out in computer science. My undergraduate degree was in computer science, and worked in R&D for a few years. After my undergrad degree, I got an MBA after that. Then I did my PhD in accounting at the Wharton School of Business. And then I taught for about 5 years at the University of Colorado. Came here to Cambridge about 6 years ago to build the new Executive Master of Accounting program.
So nice to meet you, Mike. My name is Bill Hanna. You probably know me if you've been watching my channel. I'm the financial controller. I'm a CPA in New York, where I work also as a controller. And also I'm the founder of the Controller Academy program, which is an online program where I teach you pretty much the ins and outs of becoming a corporate controller. So Mike, we want to discuss the AI and its impact on the accounting profession, so that when our viewers are watching, our viewers ranging from anyone who is starting out in their schooling for accounting, or someone who is midway in their career or at the beginning or midway in their career trying to figure out their next steps, an insight from someone like yourself who's directing a master's program in accounting at a prestigious university such as Cambridge would be very valuable. So before diving into talking about AI and its impact, let's quickly kind of give a quick brief summary on the Executive Master's Program in Accounting here at Cambridge. Sort of who is a good candidate for it. If you can give us a quick summary.
Sure. Yeah, so first of all, the program is unique. There's nothing quite like it in the world. What we're doing here is truly different. The program is, first of all, it's a part-time program. So people continue working while they're doing the program. It's for experienced professionals, most of whom have some accounting background, but it's actually not necessary to have an accounting background to do the program. Average student has about 10 years of work experience. We have students with more and students with less. But the spirit of the program is really to train leaders in the accounting space. So this is a leadership and innovation program. It's not a debits and credits program. It's about things like leading in human systems, or how to contribute to the standard setting process, or how to do AI and machine learning in accounting.
Great, perfect. Okay. And would you say the applicants or the students in the program, they are mostly from the UK, or do you have a diverse background?
No, it's a very diverse background. In fact, we want to train global leaders in the profession, and we have students from all over the world. We have some from UK and from Europe, but we have students from North America, South America, from Middle East, Africa, Asia. It's a smaller program, but we have a truly global footprint.
Great, perfect. And we'll, after discussing a bit of AI and its impact, we will go back, talk about the master's program here at Cambridge again. We'll discuss a little bit regarding the curriculum, what kind of courses you'd expect to study here, and things like that. So stay tuned for that. For the AI and its impact on the accounting profession, what would you say is your nutshell or your quick summary of how do you see it impacting the accounting profession?
So I think that accounting, like many industries is going to change as a result of AI. Any big technological change is going to lead to a shift in what people do. So some things that are currently done by people in accounting will no longer be done by people. But I think there are tremendous opportunities for accountants to get involved in anything related to data analysis, to data science, data visualization, machine learning, AI. I think there's going to be a really strong demand for people who understand accounting and understand or have an interest in these new technologies.
I'm trying to decide how to formulate this question. So anyone who's watching this video, they're studying accounting at university, or they just finished and they're beginning to look for their job and trying to decide which field within accounting to get into. I'm remembering, so I started my career in 2005 at PwC. And after that, I went to work in private industry. I remember things like T&E, where if you traveling for business, you had to fill out an actual paper form to get your expenses reimbursed. That changed after a couple of years, maybe by 2009, to be mostly in Excel. And that went from Excel to platforms like Expensify, Abacus, Navan, and a host of others now, where someone can go in, request a trip, have the budget being approved, have the expense being booked into the accounting software, whether it's NetSuite or whatever you're using, automatically booking the accounting entry. It's seamless. So there is no middleman in this process, where when I started in 2005, you had to go through a couple of different people that will manually take your work and process it.
Yeah.
So we had to have lost a couple of people through along the way. I'm sure there are shifts in the industry, and that's very similar to when you go to the supermarket. Now, half of the aisles are going to be, the checkout aisles are going to be automated where there's no one there. In some of the industries, I've read estimates like where 1 million jobs will be lost, 1 million jobs will be opened in some other form in a neighboring industry. So have you been hearing or seeing from your students, because your students are out there on the ground working in various industries, have you been hearing of this sort of shift from a job that was done in one way and now it's handled differently, where the net effect isn't a loss of a job because the other job got created somewhere else? So have you been seeing anything similar to that?
I think that this trend you're talking about has been going on for a while in finance and accounting, right? And independent of AI, right? We've got a lot of digital transformation, and reducing the cost of finance in large organizations. But it's maybe not even as cool as AI. It's just getting legacy systems to talk to each other, right? Getting the data where it needs to be to make the right decision. So that's been going on, and I think that's the focus that I'm seeing. As far as shifts into, are people shifting from one role into another, or how much is that happening? I'd say we're still early days of that. In the future, I think it will happen more. It's really difficult to say how that's going to shake out, though.
Yeah, it is difficult because we're sitting here trying to predict what would happen. And if we were sitting in that same seat in 2005 or 6, where I have described now the journey had began with T&E, for example, we couldn't have possibly even envisioned what a platform like Navan or Expensify would be doing 10 years from or 15 years from that time frame. So yes, it's hard to predict. But I guess the point is that if you are getting now into the accounting profession and you're still in the early days and is either going into a general ledger accountant, a T&E, travel and entertainment sort of accounts payable role, or billing or accounts receivable role, the point of what I'm seeing also is that when you understand the ins and outs of all of these industries and how things work behind the scene, even if the job gets automated at some point, you'll be in a much better position, since you know how it works, to drive the software. You either could be working at the software company that's building it, working as a solution consultant, or jobs that will be implementing these kind of solutions. And so I don't see it as a job lost. I see it as building your experience, because the software, we're so far away from a software knowing what to do on its own without the human behind it driving it.
Exactly. That's a great point. I think, when you think about AI, right, you think about a computer behaving like a human. So what does it mean to be a human, right? It means adapting to complexity. It means making decisions. It means using judgment. What does it mean to be an accountant, right? Is it matching expenses and invoices? Is that what an accountant does? I don't think so. I think what makes an accountant is the understanding, as you said, the understanding of the business, of the strategy, of the industry. I think it's the ability to adapt. It's the ability to exercise judgment. It's professional skepticism. It's ethics. All of these things make an accountant. And I don't see the need for those skills and traits going away, maybe ever, regardless of what happens to technology.
Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm going to use that soundbite actually at the beginning as a hook for the video, because that you summed it up perfectly here. I think what makes an accountant is all of these traits, and not just the matching or the tick marking or the things that are more mechanical. So even if all of these mechanical steps are automated away, the heart of it, what makes the accountant, the objectivity, being able to use your judgment. I think we're so far away from seeing these traits being automated, because
Yes.
that's more of a general AI, where then the machine has to be aware of itself, aware of its surroundings,
Exactly.
aware of how investors would react to a certain number.
Yes. Yes.
That will take a much longer time frame, much more than me and Dr. Willis can even begin to estimate at this point.
And just like you said, and accounting is about trust, fundamentally, to me. Why do you hire an accountant? Because they have technical expertise, and I need to be able to trust them with really big decisions. Where does trust come from? It comes from technical capability, yes, but all of those other things go into trust: the judgment, the discretion, the wisdom, the experience, as you said.
Perfect. Yep. So I think what we're saying is that we're optimistic about the near-term future of the accounting profession in relation to AI. Even in light of things we're hearing, PwC investing money. I think they have their own version of ChatGPT now at PwC Chat. So I think even in light of all of the integrations that we're seeing of AI into the industry today, I think we're both optimistic for someone who's entering the field today, what they're learning, and how this knowledge of what they're learning will put them in a better position to drive whatever it is, whatever version of AI they will be working with. And I think what I wrote and what I read is that AI won't replace accountants. It's accountants who know AI that will replace those who don't know AI. So I think we're in sort of agreement on that. Perfect. So maybe we can go back and talk about the master's program here at Cambridge University. I think we can relate to the program much better if we hear maybe about a student story or a profile of one of the students that you could tell us of how the program impacted their career positively.
Sure. Yeah. So my favorite stories of impact are when students do something because of the program, or the program enables them to do something that they wouldn't have done before. And we see this all the time. Many of our students, if not most of them, change jobs during the program. So they're able to accelerate their careers or branch into a different area during the program itself. But as a part-time program, our students continue working while they do the program, which means they can take what they learn in the program and apply it immediately in what they're doing. And sometimes that's related to their full-time job, and sometimes it's outside. So I'll give you an example. We have a student from Brazil. Had a student from Brazil working in private equity, but really passionate about education and delivering training for university exam prep to underserved populations. Okay, so this was like a side gig, but what he was doing just on his spare time. So we have a module in change management. Okay, so it's all about how to develop a comprehensive change plan, understanding the psychology of change, resistance to change, risk management, persuasion, and power, all of these things. So the assignment for that module is to develop a change management plan. So this student was thinking, okay, I'm going to use this assignment to develop a plan for my nonprofit that I'm working on. So he did that, and he built this strategic growth plan for this nonprofit around marketing and around understanding attrition and recruiting students, and he was able to grow his nonprofit and have real impact on society and fulfill a real need. Okay. Another student, this is actually another story of a side gig, but he was thinking about doing a startup, an online grocery in Africa. And same thing, he had an assignment in change management and ended up writing this startup plan. And then he said, you know what, I've got this plan. I'm going to do it. So he launched a startup.
So he used the real life startup for the assignment here at the
That's
school.
right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, and that allowed him to probably get input from peers and
Absolutely.
professors?
We've had students who take the assessments they do. They use them to get you'd get projects funded, to, as I said, develop startups. It's really a broad range of impact.
Great. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Okay, perfect. So maybe that's a good segue to speak about some of the courses in the curriculum. So when I went over, the list of courses listed on the website, I've seen, global financial reporting, internal and external audit, profitability and statistics, and more. So, if we grab one of them, global financial reporting, I noticed global at the beginning of the name of the course, because we all talk about financial reporting in the US, but when we put the global in front of it, can you give me some context on what that means?
Yeah, sure. So that's a really good question. So the global financial reporting module, first of all, it's a focus on the most ambiguous areas of financial reporting, the most difficult, complex, challenging areas where there's the most discretion and judgment required. And it's not just a look at what the standards say, but it's a look at how the standards got written the way they are and how you can be an advocate for improved reporting standards. Okay, so the standards development process is a political process. It's a process that involves consultation from multiple stakeholders. So that class is actually co-taught by one person who's an academic who was a academic fellow at the International Accounting Standards Board, and someone who was a full-time technical lead on one of the IASB standards. So they can speak to exactly how every line in that standard got to where it was, and what were the compromises, and what was the thinking behind that.
That's great.
And then the assessment for that module, one of the assessments is, in groups, the students write a comment letter on a proposed change to accounting standards. So it gets them thinking as a leader, as a policymaker would be thinking about accounting standards.
Amazing. Okay. The best way to understand a rule is to think with the same mindset as the rule setter, the person who set the rule or the policy. So having someone write a letter to propose a rule, I think that's a great way to learn it. So I guess that's a helpful intro into the question that I had next, which is the focus, because a lot of my students or my viewers are focused on US GAAP. I think also there is the population on the other side of the pond on IFRS. So is the focus, the program is geared toward one or the other, or?
It's both. Honestly, to be a global leader in accounting, you have to know both.
Okay.
And if you're operating in multinational organizations, you need to know both.
For sure.
The truth is, they're similar in many regards, but there are subtle differences in particular areas, and there are differences in philosophy. And I think that all accounting education should be global. I think that today it's time to understand the differences and the similarities.
Yeah, and that's slowly but surely that will happen with the convergence of the two sets of rules. I think it will take a little bit of time, but I think we're already seeing a lot of rules being sort of somewhat similar or the same across one. Probably one is more rule-based and the US GAAP side, which is more judgment-based, if you call it that, and the IFRS side. That's great. So, Mike, I think I touched on the global financial reporting course, but if there is any other particular course that you want to highlight, feel free. I know you mentioned one at the beginning of our conversation regarding data analytics.
Yeah.
So is that the course where AI is more integrated?
Yeah, so we have a few modules in data analytics. And what I mean by data analytics is essentially using algorithms and data to make better decisions or to automate certain things, right? So we have a class on data visualization. So our students learn to use Tableau and they learn to use Tableau to explore data sets, so to understand and find connections in data sets, and then to use data to communicate more effectively, use data visualizations to communicate more effectively, right? Because ultimately, you're going to be building an argument, you're going to be building a case, you're going to be making some pitch. How do you use visualizations in a way that strengthens your story? So that's our data visualization module. I said a little bit about predictive analytics. That's the one where we look at machine learning algorithms, neural networks, and things like this, focused on prediction. One interesting thing that we've done this year, to the instructor for that module, his name is David Stillwell. He's an expert in big data and machine learning. So he actually brought ChatGPT into the classroom and allowed our students and encouraged our students to use ChatGPT in generating some of their code.
Interesting. Okay, because we've been hearing that in academia there has been a way of like almost it's a frowned upon exercise, but you're saying it's encouraged.
Sure, and for some things, write an essay about Romeo and Juliet. ChatGPT can probably get a reasonable start on that. Our focus is more, let's see how we can use this and leverage this to enhance the student's experience. So now
Right.
our students are intentionally using ChatGPT, having to understand why did ChatGPT come up with this recommendation for this code, and then critically analyze the code to make sure it works. And so we're teaching that as a tool as well.
Okay, that's great. I think the other point to talk about is now that we've learned about the program, the profiles of the students, the stories that we've heard, which is great, the courses, in terms of costs, and I think the cost might be already listed on the website, the Cambridge website.
Yeah,
And I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of £49,000.
that's right.
And it's on, so the program can be hybrid online, I believe. Is that the case? Is that
Yes. So the format of the program is a blended program. So students come to Cambridge 8 weeks over 2 years. So about 1 week per quarter, they come to Cambridge and they spend the whole week in Cambridge. And those weeks are really intense. They're really interactive. They're really exciting because our model in the classroom is not lecture at the students. It's discussion and debate and analysis of really important things related to accounting. Okay. That's the centerpiece of the program. Leading up to those residential weeks in Cambridge, the students are working through online content. So they're reading case studies, discussing them online, some live office hours with faculty, doing some video, preparing for the discussion and debate that happens in the residential weeks.
Great. Yeah. So that sounds actually great. Like, so it's say every quarter you come to the UK. So let's say you're someone who lives in South America.
Yeah.
You will come. It's almost like you can vacation for a week or two. you come
They're
here.
working hard, Bill. No, it's not a vacation.
This is not a vacation. But you could add another week to it and hang out here.
Absolutely.
So that's great. So then the rest of the time you could be holding your regular job, studying online, getting together with the class online
That's right.
whatever the schedule is, and just coming here once every 3 months for a week to focus, to get face to face and kind of peer to peer and with the professor and kind of get that discussion and get that debate in person. So that's great. Fantastic. So I think it's a really valuable program, and I highly recommend it from what I read about it. I think Dr. Willis gave us really valuable insight. And if there's anything else I want to advise, our viewers, we get about 300,000 unique viewers worldwide who are mostly accountants or financial analysts. If there's anything you want to leave them with in terms of advice for the career, or a motivation, something to motivate them with, what would you say?
I would say a couple of things. So first of all, I think there are really unprecedented opportunities to connect accounting with data science and AI and machine learning, and also that knowledge is freely available. So if you want to learn more about these technologies, there are so many free resources or inexpensive resources to learn how to write some code, to learn about data analysis, and even a little bit of that can help you think about, what's my role as an accountant? How can I add value to the organization by understanding these technologies, even if I'm not going to be a full-time programmer? So I think there's really good news in that regard.
Yep.
And then about the program, if the Executive Mac program is of interest, a great way to engage with us would be to just submit a CV. So it's sort of a pre-application. Send us a CV and we'll get back to you with some thoughts on how you might structure an application. And we can start a conversation about whether the program is a good fit for someone. We're a smaller program, and so our approach in the admission process is really having conversations and understanding what the fit is if the program can add value to your career. So on our website, there's a place to do that, to engage us with a profile review. We'd be happy to do that.
Great, great. Okay, that sounds awesome. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your hospitality. This is my first time in Cambridge, so I'm here with my family today. We'll go after this and take a quick tour. And I appreciate your time and your valuable advice and insight into the program today.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank
Great
you very
to have
much. Awesome. All right. I was thinking, like, I usually do. I've done like a couple of these before, and I usually a couple of times.